Welcome to the Full Court Entertainment Podcast. I'm Sheldon Moore, and this is episode number 81. And we'll be discussing Timberwolves Nuggets semifinals preview, Western Conference semifinals preview, Lakers and Suns futures, and just looking at the rest of the playoffs and how all the other series are going on. So, first thing I'm gonna start with the Lakers and the Suns future. So, but I'll start with the Suns first. The Suns, they got swept by the Timberwolves. I picked the Suns to win the series. I picked them to go to 7. I knew the Timberwolves had obviously great defense. I knew that for sure. They had the number one defense anyway. They had the number one defense. But I thought they were starting to figure out kind of late in the year. Bradley Beal was starting to get it going. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, they were still doing them, averaging 20 points, obviously. But for some reason, this series, they got bullied. The Timberwolves bullied them. Like Ant-Man snatched their hearts away. He literally took their hearts from them. Anthony Edwards, I said in this series, I was like, I can see Ant averaging 31. Obviously, he's the best player. I wanted to see what Cat was gonna do. Cat played pretty good. He didn't average 20, obviously, but he really didn't have to. You did get heroics from Jaden McDaniels and Nikhil Alexander Walker in some games. And Rudy Gobert, I think to some people, Rudy Gobert, they thought he was going to be taken off the court. I thought he was going to be taken out. I thought the Suns would find a way to take Rudy Gobert out the game. They didn't. Rudy Gobert showed why he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. He just showed it. He was able to play on the perimeter, stay down low, and control the paint. And the Suns had no answer to that. Nurkic really didn't have a good series. Bradley Beal had a terrible series. Devin Booker, he really didn't have a good series. He played good, and he played really good in the last game. He played really good. He dropped 40 points, 40-something points. Kevin Durant gave him 30-something points, too, in that game. But the crazy thing is, it took those two to have this miraculous scoring outburst, and you still lose. That's not good. I thought that the role players will at least be decent coming into the season. They were not good at all. You really didn't play them. And then Grayson Allen, who was probably their best role player, missed the last 2 games of the series. And he was basically your best 3-point shooter percentage-wise. And you missed him, and they didn't have him. So it's kind of hard, like, to look at the Suns. Like, they were bad. Like, no one expected a sweep. Like, I thought it would at least be competitive. I said it could go to 7. I think the Suns' firepower could do enough to make this series really good. I thought this was one of the best series in the playoffs. It probably was the worst series in the playoffs. The Suns have a lot of work to do. They don't really have cap space. You have no draft capital. No draft capital because you trade all that away to get Bradley Beal. You traded away all the draft capital to trade Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. So now they have decisions to make. Do you break up this big 3 super team, whatever you want to call it? Me, this is how I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to say. Bradley Beal, I think he's going to stay because he has $50 million. He's getting $50 million for like the next 3 years, and he has a no trade clause. So he basically controls his future. They can't send him to like a team that's not good, and he's just gonna accept it. No, he's gonna gladly get paid his $50 million and probably stay in Phoenix. Now the question is, do you trade Booker or Kevin Durant? I said I would probably trade Booker, and the only reason I say I would trade Booker is because he's the youngest, and you're probably going to get you're going to get probably better trade assets for Booker. Obviously, one of the best shooting guards in the league, one of the best scorers in the league. And I think teams will probably go for that. Kevin Durant, if you want to say trade Kevin Durant, that's fine. Kevin Durant, he's Kevin Durant is 35, I think. I think he's 35. He's still one. He's definitely one of the best scorers we've ever seen, and he's still one of the best scorers in the league. The problem is his age, and me personally, I don't think he should ask for a trade. You already like Kevin Durant might not say he doesn't care what people think. I think he does care what people think to an extent. You already left OKC because you thought that team wasn't good enough to win a championship. I think they could have probably won a championship with him, Russ, Serge, and all of them still there after they did lose to the Warriors. You go to Golden State, you win 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs. You did get hurt in that third year, tore your Achilles. And then you basically left that situation because you wasn't getting praise as Steph Curry. And that's understandable. Like, Steph Curry was drafted there, so they're going to praise him more than, say, a free agent acquisition. I feel like that's just how it works in basketball and in sports in general. Then you go to Brooklyn. Brooklyn was the failure before the Suns, but Brooklyn, he did have a chance to win a championship. You basically create your own team. You did have a super team. I count him, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving as a super team. I count that as a super team. They just got hurt in the semifinals against the Bucks. James Harden hurt his hammy in basically the first 2 minutes of the game in game 1. And Kyrie, he hurt his ankle in game, I want to say 3 or 4 in Milwaukee. So basically, it was just Kevin Durant and a bunch of role players. And if it wasn't for his foot on the line, I always say this, if he hits that 3-pointer, a lot of legacies are different because they beat Milwaukee. I think they beat the Hawks in the conference finals, and I think they beat the Suns in the finals. Then you say this isn't working out. You ask for a trade to Phoenix. Now it's you, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul. I think that's a decent team. And it's just the fact that you go to the Suns, you're on the Suns and y'all lose in the second round to the Nuggets. Now, I don't blame the Suns for trading for Bradley Beal because at that point, you see that, man, if we just had another scorer to go along with us, because we was dropping 30 bombs against the Nuggets. We had the series tied up. Yes, we did lose the series, but we had the series tied up. Chris Paul was hurt as always. DeAndre, and yes, he didn't give us nothing. But if we just had another consistent score, we probably would have won that series and probably have a chance of going far. So I don't blame management to going after Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal just didn't pan out. And the reports are saying that Frank Vogel asked for a point guard. I don't know. It's saying that he asked for a point guard because he didn't want the point guard to take away from the sunshine, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker. He didn't want to take all that away from them. And I was like, depending on the point guard you get, it doesn't really matter. Let's just say they got a Ricky Rubio type point guard, pass first point guard who's going to play some defense to an extent. He ain't the best defender, but to some extent, if you had a point guard like that, he's not taking nothing away from them 3. He's going to actually help them get them in better situations than they had now. It was just a lot of one-on-one situations. I thought it could work. And yes, Devin Booker as the point guard, they cannot try that again. I hope Suns management get a point guard, but I don't know what they're gonna do to get a point guard because they have no money. All your money is into those big 3. So I want to know if they do get a point guard, what type of point guard they're gonna get, and what type of point guard is gonna take less money. Because I heard Matt Ishbia, the Suns owner, he said that, I'm paraphrasing, but he thinks they should run it back and they just need to make some minor changes. I don't know what type of minor changes you're talking about. This team basically was just set up bad, I guess, from day one to some people. I mean, for a big 3 that basically dealt with injuries all year, no cohesiveness, they still won 40-something games. All you needed was a point guard and probably have to try and get a better big. Nurkic, I think Nurkic is decent, but he might not just be this big for this specific team. I think you need a big that's going to score and probably the pass. Maybe like an Isaiah Hartenstein. They're not going to be able to pay for him, though. He's going to get a bag after playing really good this season. But all them other role players, they will be gone. So really, they only got, I think, 4 players on the roster: Grayson Allen, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker. I'm still going to say, like I said, Devin Booker, I think you should trade them. Now, I know he is the youngest, and he's basically reaching his prime as of right now. But I think you're going to get the most back for him, because if you trade Kevin Durant to some teams, Kevin Durant is still Kevin Durant, but do I want a 35-year-old player that probably can't impact winning like how he used to probably in Golden State and OKC? Some owners, some management might say yes, and some might say no. So that's why I'm going to give up Devin Booker. But I said it last year. I said that season was a failure, because when you trade for Kevin Durant, you're supposed to basically go far in the playoffs. And then this year was a definite failure because you just got swept. And maybe the Timberwolves are just a straight up better team. Maybe they're just a better team than the Suns. I think that, yeah, they probably just a better team. But I thought this series will be better than them getting swept. They should not got swept. They should have at least got a game. Game 4 should have been the game that y'all fight nail and say, hey man, we ain't getting swept. We gonna get a game. We gonna get a game out of this. So they should have got one. In the Suns' future right now, it's not looking good. The Kevin Durant Suns tenure is looking really bad. Now people are saying Anthony Edwards has taken the shooting guard torch from Devin Booker. Oh, I said it last year. I thought Anthony Edwards. I said it September 2022. I said Anthony Edwards, I think he's the best shooting guard in the league. And so far, I'm looking kind of right, and that's cool. But it's looking bad. Like I said, I don't think you could trade Beal. I think you trade Booker, and I think you keep Kevin Durant, and now you can get some draft picks back. Which one you trade, you can at least get probably some good role players back and some draft capital back. That's their only way, because if you run it back with this same team and still don't get a point guard, you're just going to be in the same situation you are that just happened in 2023, 2024. You're probably just going to get swept again. The Suns have a lot of decisions to make when it gets to probably June and July on who they're going to keep. I'm not going to say blow it up, but I think they should just retool this team.